Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Young Hustlers here on the Cardone Zone. My name is Jared Glant, and every Thursday, noon East Coast Standard Time, this is the spot you come to get your business right, to get your money right, to get your sales right. This is the place where you come because you want more than you got right now, and you need information and strategies to get to the next level. And every week, I'm bringing you everything that we're doing in our business, things that I've learned over the course of the 10 years that I've worked next to Grant and watch him build $1 billion empire. All I'm doing is trying to share with the younger generation. Maybe you're not even younger, maybe you're older, who knows? But the hungry generation, the folks that want to do better. The purpose of the show is that every week we come out and we give you strategies and tactics so you can implement in your business, whether you own a business or whether you're an employee, whether you got a team or you're a solopreneur. No matter where you're at, this show's designed to give you the resources that you need to grow. And today is a great show. I think that for me, when I look at things that I'm trying to understand or things that I'm trying to improve, I just think differently. I don't know. Like, some people get stuff right away. For me, like, I have to really understand a process or a flow or a to-do list or step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Like, I have to have everything kind of blocked out, compartmentalized, so that I can figure out what I'm doing right now and then where I need to go. Without that, I'm all over the place. It's messy. That's where I was from the time I was 20 to the time I was 26, completely lost. I was missing a lot of information. I didn't know, man, I liked making money, but I didn't know how much money I actually needed. I was making 200 grand a year, 150 grand a year. And I thought, I was like, dude, I was making more money than all my friends. I was like, dude, this is as good as it gets. Because I didn't have anybody around me showing me the way and showing me really what I needed to be doing to get out of where I'm at. And so I put together this show today so that I could kind of just take you through the 5 steps that you need to master in order to win in business and in life. And again, for me, it helps to kind of bucket things out. And what I'd like for you guys to do is, we're going through this today. Hopefully you have some notes, or if you're listening on the podcast or maybe on Facebook or something, you're just jotting down each of these little things that I'm going to discuss. And I want you to rate yourself on each of these 5 steps on a scale from 1 to 10 in terms of your confidence level and knowing what to do in each of these buckets to get where you want to go. And so the title of the show today is 5 Steps to Winning in Business. And so I'm going to cover each of those 5 steps for you today and hopefully give you some clarity on where that next step forward that you're taking in your life or in your career needs to be. Now, for some of us, it's not going back all the way to the beginning and starting over. For some of us, it's just taking an assessment of where are we right now? What do we have in motion? I've got this job. I love it. I don't love it. I've got this experience. It's valuable or it's not. Taking an assessment of where you're at and just going, okay, hey, I don't need to reboot and tear down everything, but I do need to apply the 5 things that I'm going to cover today and figure out how I need to improve in each of these areas, because I promise you that with these 5 steps, these 5 things that we're going to talk about today, these are the elements of a massively successful either business or individual. You can't get around these 5 things if you want to be successful. They have to be there, and you have to understand what needs to be done. Was my head cut off that whole time? No. You have to understand what needs to be done in each of these areas. And so while I don't have enough time to go all the way into all of them today, in fact, these are things that you could spend a lot of time on. We could do a 2-day workshop just on every one of these things and probably get you a really good head start, but not be able to cover in full depth everything. But again, as a starting point, I think this is going to be a good idea. It'll help you kind of visualize where you're at and evaluate each of these areas. Remember, so as you're going through today, remember, we're going to rate on a scale from 1 to 10 your confidence in each of the areas that we're going to cover, okay? So there's 5 steps to win in business. Step number 1. In order to win big in business or in life, if you want to make money, the first thing that you have to get your head right about is money. And a lot of people have some really challenging things to overcome with money, ideas that have been ingrained in who they are. Their parents brought them up a certain way. Society has brought them up a certain way. Money is a very interesting thing. And I think that people's views about money ultimately will determine, and their ability to get money. Let me clarify that. People's views about their money and their ability to get money will determine how successful they are. Let me explain what I mean. If you believe that money is scarce, that only the rich get richer, there's no opportunity, there's no way out, and you're stuck, you will never, ever, ever have money. And nobody who has that mindset has ever done anything great. Because if you have that mindset, if you don't think the opportunity is there for you to make money, you will never find, the opportunity could be sitting 3 inches from your face and you would miss it. Because it's the perspective that you look at. And this is not something that happens overnight, these decisions about money and the abundance of it. And the more you're on social media, the worse this will get for you, I promise. You think, I remember because I used to think this stuff. I'd be on social media and I'd see people that were young and I'd compare myself. I'd see people that were young and they were doing well and I'd be like, there's no way it can happen for me. I'm so far behind. Look at where they're at already. They're making millions already or thousands of people are already doing this particular business. Like I can't get in it anymore. All I have to tell you is that those are such self-imposed beliefs. The size of this world and the size of this economy is so massive that no person, even people on Wall Street and the biggest banks in the world, can't even fathom how big this market really is, how big the economy really is. It's a global economy now. We're a global economy in reality, but most people are confined to the reality of the economy in their city. And so they look in social media around all these people doing all these crazy things, massive, like they're doing massive things, millions of dollars reaching thousands of people. And they're looking at their little economy in their little tiny town. And they're thinking, I'm just telling you this because this is what I used to think. Let's just use me as an example. I'm in San Diego and I'm looking on social media. People all around the world, by the way. I see people that are participating in a global economy and I'm comparing that to myself in my town and the opportunity that it may exist in my little area. Do you see the dichotomy there? So like on one side, my beliefs are limited to my area. I can't think outside of San Diego, okay? So man, there can only be so much opportunity in a small town like San Diego. While I'm making judgments about people that are participating in a global economy. So like that perspective is so important because you make decisions based on your surroundings and your environment, and they're not apples to apples assessments. And what happens is you end up feeling depressed and overwhelmed and like it can't happen for me. And then you get stuck in your thing, in your little bubble, right? So 2 things. Number 1, you have to think massive and you have to think big. There's so much more abundance than you could ever possibly imagine. Like you literally cannot fathom it. Grant has billions in transactions under his belt, billions in real estate, and he learns new things about the size of the economy. He talks to one banker and he's like, wow, like I thought that I had a big goal to do 10 billion in real estate, and these people just dumped 10 billion like it was nothing. They didn't even feel it. It wasn't even a blip on the radar. So it's so big, and you have to get outside of that, and that will determine your views about your ability to access money. So first thing you have to do if you want to be massively successful in business or life is you have to reprogram the way you think about money. And if you don't have a business, you need to reprogram the way that you think about money. If you do have a business, you need to reprogram the way that you think about money, and you need to reprogram the way that your people think about money. Because the way that your people in your organization view money is the way that they will view money, collecting money, bringing money into your organization, right? So if all of your employees are thinking with abundance or all of them are thinking with scarcity, under which circumstances do you think that you're going to have a more successful company? Abundance, right? They're thinking with massive. They're not thinking with limitations. They're not thinking with reason. They're thinking with massive opportunity. So the first thing that you have to have is you have to get the right mindset about money. We talk a ton about money because it's so important. Notice that's the first thing. Nothing else that I'm talking about after this matters if you don't think right about money. So money, on a scale from 1 to 10, rate your confidence in your money mindset. Okay? Rate your confidence in your money mindset. Be honest with yourself. This is for nobody else but you. I don't care what your score is. I'm not going to ask you, but you need to rate it. If you have a 10 and you've been stuck making $20,000 a year, you are not a 10 with money. There's something that's off. Because the people, if you had the money mindset right and you failed at everything else, there's a 6-figure income on this planet for you somewhere. I see it all the time. The second step of a wildly successful business career or a massive income is you have to understand the marketing game. Now notice, if you don't think the right way about money, then you're going to struggle with marketing because marketing requires money. Now again, if this is you as a person, let's say you're an employee of somebody else's company. What are you doing to invest in you as a company? What are you doing to invest in your brand? What are you doing to outreach to your community? What are you doing to create attention so that you can go out in the global economy and go, yo, I want my piece? You have to get attention. Grant says it all the time. Money follows attention. So if money follows attention, right? Money follows attention. How much are you willing to invest in your marketing and promotion to get attention so that you can attract more money? It's a little interesting little wheel there. But marketing is marketing yourself, marketing your brand, marketing your product, marketing your services, engaging with these free resources and tools that we have called social media to get out of obscurity, to come above the fold. There's the masses of people on this planet, and the people who know how to leverage the social game, the people that market and promote themselves, elevate themselves. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't be successful if you don't have a big social media audience, because I know a ton of people that are freaking loaded, like massively rich, and nobody knows who they are because they're not big celebrities or they don't own companies that are all over the news. But dude, I know people that are knocking down $5, $6, $7, $8, $9 million a year that nobody could pick out of a crowd of 2. But they got the money thing right? And then they market their company, not themselves. So right or wrong, I don't know. For me, the end result is the most important thing. So however you get there, to each his own. But you have to be able to market something. A wildly successful, highly successful, somebody with wealth, dude, they're marketing something. If it's not themselves, it's their company, it's their product, it's their service, it's their success stories, it's the customers that they've had that have won on their programs or with their products. So number one, you got to have the right money mindset. You have to think in abundance. You have to think that it can happen, because if you don't think it can happen, it won't happen. The second thing that you have to do is you have to understand that money follows attention. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. Like, this goes way back. Like, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Like, that sounds like something that got made up in the 1800s. Maybe before that. Maybe Joe Biden made it up. I don't know. So, you have to be able to create attention and grab attention from people so that you can get money with them. The thing that's separating you between the money that you want is people. And so you have to do something to get their attention. Now, let's say you're driving, people are driving down the road and you go, hey, like Grant always says, hey, and they stop. So you've got their attention. You've marketed something, right? The next step to win in business, I spit on the board a little bit. The next step to win in business, sales. You got somebody's attention. Hey! They stop. Now you need to make your pitch. Again, rate on 1 to 10 your confidence in your money mindset. Rate on a scale from 1 to 10 right now your confidence in your ability to market and promote yourself in an effective way. And again, you can't be over a 7 in any of these areas if you don't have some statistics or some results behind that. Like when somebody says, oh, I'm an 8 in marketing, I'm like, okay, well, how much money do you make? Yeah, I make 50 grand a year. You are not an 8 in marketing. I would say that we as a company are probably an 8 with our marketing. Me as an individual, I'm probably a 5 with my marketing. But I got the right money mindset. Remember, you get the money mindset right, a lot of this stuff, you can make up for a lot of your scores in these other areas. So scale of 1 to 10, confidence in your ability to market and promote yourself, your company, your brand, your service. Sales, your ability to convert traffic once you get somebody's attention. Now, again, you got the money thing right, you're going to open a lot of doors. Like you're probably 75% of the way there when you just get your money mindset right. Then when you start marketing and promoting and you get people's attention, right? You start capturing audience. Now you got to convert them to an opportunity. You got to convert them to a customer. You got to take them through a sales process. Now, your marketing may be, I'm making an outbound cold call. Your marketing could be, I'm knocking on a door. You're trying to capture attention, right? So I make a cold call, that's a marketing effort, right? Somebody picks up the phone, now I've got attention. Now I can enter my sales process. Marketing process, knock, 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 knock on the door. They open the door, now I got attention. The purpose of marketing is to capture attention so that you can put the customer through a sales process. Okay? So now, on a scale from 1 to 10, how confident are you in your current sales process? Do you feel confident that you can go out into the public? Do you feel like you can go out and collect money from people who didn't know you before you talked to them, who didn't know anything about your company, your product, your service? Dude, again, as an organization here, we're probably a 7 in this area. We train every day. We have veteran salespeople. We are a training company. Like our entire culture is based around development of these skills. Like I remember when I first came to work for Grant, like it was so terrible. I tell this story all the time because I think it's funny. But I remember I was cold calling, and this was probably the first 60 days that I was working there. And I was just getting brutalized. Like I was cold calling car dealers to sell them training. That would be like, I'm thinking of examples that I can't say because they're not appropriate. At least I stopped myself, you know? Dude, like the thing, and now I forgot what I was talking about. God damn. So look, these 3 things, money, marketing, sales, okay? You've got to have all 3 of them. What I was saying was when I was making cold calls to car dealers, like I would get stumped. Like they'd deliver an objection. I'd try to handle it. They'd come back. We'd do this dance back and forth. And I remember like I wasn't prepared to handle it. So number 1, I had confidence issues going into the call because I know that I didn't have the proper sales techniques and abilities to overcome the customer's objections. So then I was like, shit, man, I'm sitting here. I'm waiting to get a knockout punch delivered from them to me. I'm on the receiving end of the knockout blow. And I have no defense. Like I'm just sitting there. I'm going into the ring like, oh man, I want to make money. Wham! Boom! I'm out. Next call. Like that literally is how the first 4 or 5 months of my job went with Grant. Sometimes I'd step into the ring like this and they'd go to wind up and punch me and I would trip and like inadvertently I'd miss the knockout blow and then they'd feel bad for me and then we'd start talking and then I'd tell them something. Like this sales thing is so important because once you get the sales thing right, you have so much confidence in your ability. Like if you can get the sales thing right, I know great salespeople that are terrible at finance. They're terrible at organization. They're terrible at structure. They're terrible at details. I know great salespeople that have billion-dollar companies, and they're terrible at everything but selling people on an idea, a product, a service, and a vision. They've got the money mindset right, and they know how to get people's attention, and they know how to pitch people. They have massively convincing pitches. This computer went off. So like what's your confidence level here right now? What's your confidence in your ability to convert somebody once you actually have their attention? Like, and just so you guys don't think like, oh man, like I'm a 2 at money, I'm a 1 at marketing, I'm maybe a 2 or a 3 at sales, like that's fine. But like the most important thing is that you know these 5 things that I'm gonna cover and you start taking action to improve your abilities in each of these areas. So like that's why it's important to rate your confidence level in these areas, honestly. This is about you understanding the steps that you need to take next to improve your business or to improve your personal income. So money, got to get your money mindset right. Number 2, marketing. You have to understand how to get people's attention, market, and promote. Number 3, you have to know how to sell because once you market, promote, and get attention, you're going to create an opportunity for yourself to collect some money from somebody. The 4th thing that you need to have is you need to have the ability to execute. So this means this is the doingness of these things right here. And this is the exact order, by the way, that these go in. So the first thing that you have to do is you have to get your money mindset right, okay? Everything changed for me once I did this. Because then I was like, this got so big and juicy that I was like, I'll walk through brick walls to do everything else. Once I got really sold on this, and not like money because I want to buy watches and cars and all that stuff, and if you want to do that, that's cool. But because I understood that money would allow me to have freedom. Money would allow me to have generational wealth. I forget who said this. Maybe you guys in the studio can help me because it hit me so hard. I remember taking the note. I just forget who said it. But when we did our recent 10X challenge, one of the guest speakers, who was it? Was it Eric Worre maybe? He said, generational wealth lasts for 3 generations. And I was like, whoa. Like for some reason that just like nailed me. It was like, dude, my kids. Like I'm gonna be like great grandpa Jared that freaking got stupid rich, and that trust fund that I get every month, that little check that I get every month, it's because he busted his ass and he was doing all this stuff. Like that hit me hard. But when I was starting to work for Grant and I started learning the apartment thing and I started learning how he was making his money, and he's so transparent. Like you guys have no idea how fortunate we are. Like even me, I'm his right-hand guy. I'm with him almost every day. Like I am so fortunate that Grant is so open about money. Most people are not open about money. If I said, Grant, how much do you have in your gambling trading account? We call it the gambling account because it's a stock market account. Like what's in the gambling account? How much money's in your checking account? How much money's in your money market account? How much money's in this deal? How much money do you have in that deal? How liquid are you today? Like tells me everything. It gets me thinking so different. It's probably strategic. He probably does it on purpose. He probably tells me specifically because he wants me thinking so big. He wants me thinking so big that like all this other stuff is like, he's like, dude, I'm chasing generational wealth. I got to go after the big bone here. So money, marketing, sales, execution. Execution is where a lot of people start falling off because they don't have a plan and they don't have any accountability. And they don't build the disciplines. This isn't something that happens overnight. Like none of these things are. The first thing that you have to do is you have to get the skill and the knowledge in each of these areas. You have to get the skill and the knowledge in each of these areas to actually know what to do. You have to know what, like if you tell me, dude, you got to walk from here to West Palm Beach to this address, like I have to have a map to get there. Otherwise, I'm never going to find it. I'm going to be lost. And that's how most people go through life. They go through life lost because they have no idea where they're going and they have no idea where the car or what the vehicle is. And they're just freaking lost. Like, they have all this confusion their entire life, and they wonder why they're frustrated, and they wonder why they're not getting what they want, and they wonder why they see other people doing well and they're not. They wonder why they hate their job, and they hate their family, and they hate their life. Like, dude, they wonder why they're just not happy all the time. Because, dude, they didn't even know what destination they had in the first place. Then they never even knew that there was a map. Like, what if I told you that there was a destination, or there was a map to get you exactly to the destination that in your mind right now you believe you deserve to be? There is an exact map that exists. But again, like, dude, if you can't execute, if you can't follow the steps along the way, along the map, along the road to get where you want to go, guess what? You're not going to get there. So just because you know the right things to do with money doesn't mean you're actually going to do them. Just because you know the right things to do with marketing doesn't mean you're actually going to do them. Just because you know how to do the right sales process does not mean you're actually going to do it. Just because you know the right foods to eat doesn't mean you're actually going to do them. Just because you know exercising is good for you doesn't mean you're actually going to do it. Execution is the doing. And there are processes, there are checklists, there's formatting. Like, there's systems that you can put in place that actually force you to execute. There's things that you can do that actually force you to execute. One of the things that we do is we put stuff in our future. We make future commitments to something. We go, I'm going to put this stake in the ground that we're going to do a growth con on this date, that we're going to do a boot camp on this date, that we're going to do an HQ day event on this date. Like, that date creates an obligation. We start promoting it. We spend money on it. Now, guess what? We force execution. And the reason why most of you do not execute is because you never put yourself in a situation where you have to. And you think that this is going to come easy. You think that the execution piece of doing all these things the right way is going to get you where you want to go, but it won't. You have to force yourself to do it. How many of y'all are nodding your head right now going, yeah, man, I know the right things to do, but I just don't do them? If everybody did the right thing all the time, there would be a lot of people that were more successful than they are right now. Tons, millions. But they simply don't do it. We have an obesity problem in the country. Why? Because people know the right thing to do and they don't do it. Unless they don't know the right thing, right? Unless they don't know that, like, dude, eating pizzas every day ain't healthy. Unless you're Dave Portnoy. Then it makes you rich. Okay. So execution is the doing. And then number 5, scaling. So we've gone through the 5 steps. Money, step 1. Marketing, step 2. Sales, step 3. Execution, step 4. And then scaling, step 5. Do you know what scaling means? It means to, like, exponentially grow. It means to grow at a rate where things don't break. And in order to scale, personally, if I'm an employee, in order to scale as a business, especially as a business, you have to do exact specific things in a specific way. This is why Brandon Dawson, we partnered with Brandon Dawson at Cardone Ventures, because what would happen over the last 10 years with Grant is people would get the money thing right because they'd spend a bunch of time and energy and money learning from Grant, the money game. Then they'd get the marketing thing right. They'd come to our workshops and our boot camps, and they'd take our courses and our webinars, and they'd learn everything they need to know to become great at marketing and promoting themselves. Then they'd invest in all of our sales programs, and they'd like, dude, I got the money thing right. I got the marketing thing right. I got the sales thing right. I'm closing deals left and right. I follow Grant. I continue to follow Grant and come to your stuff, the masterminds, all that stuff, because I know it forces me to execute. When I spend 25 grand on a mastermind, or when I spend 100 grand on coaching with Grant, it forces me to use it, because I'm not going to go home and go, nah, that 100 grand, I'm not going to do anything with that. It forces the execution. Okay? But all of these things will make you successful, but they won't make you massively successful. All of these things could make you 500 grand, but they won't make you 5 million a year. They won't make you $50 million in net worth rich. You can't do something big like this without the scaling piece. And scaling requires a specific formula, because when you think about scaling, you're basically, it's like you're adding team members to a football team, right? So let's say you're playing touch football and there's, what do you call it? Flag football or two-hand touch football or whatever. And you got 2 people on each team. Small teams, boring game, right? All-time quarterback, by the way. What happens is when the game starts scaling, you start adding people in. Now, as you're adding people, what's going to happen is you're introducing different personalities, different mindsets, different concepts, different people, different viewpoints, different emotions, different attitudes. Like when you start scaling, you start bringing in a bigger circle, because big is the only way to get big money. You've got to get bigger. You've got to add. And so what scaling does is it lays out a systematic approach to you getting bigger. Hey, what's this? What do I hear on the phone? It lays out a systematic approach for you to start adding people and things that will help you get big, not just by size, but big by size. Money, marketing, sales, execution, scale. 5 steps to master if you want to become massively successful. See, that generational wealth thing struck a chord for me. Think about that. Think about being the person in your family. Maybe there's been nobody in my family that's been super rich. They was so wealthy that when we all went on a vacation, they paid for everything. Like nobody in my family I've never been exposed to that in my family. Wouldn't that be cool if that person was you? Now, some of you might be thinking, shit, that ain't possible for me. Well, that's because you don't have this right. You're already kneecapping yourself. You're handicapping yourself before we even get started. Because see, I thought about dude, this whole concept of generational wealth, man, I could provide not just freedom for myself, but I could provide freedom for generations. And I believe that when you have freedom, that's when great things can happen. If you're a bad person, freedom probably isn't a great thing. Idle hands are the devil's playground, if you don't have something to do. But I believe that if you're a good person, good morals and good ethics, and you have freedom and you have finances, then you can do massive things. You think outside of the realm that most people do, and I believe that that's when some magic can happen. And so for me, I want my generations in my family to be able to pursue the things that they're passionate about and the things that they want to do, and not the things that they have to do. Grant always says, man, you don't have to love what you do. You don't have to love what you do if you're trying to make money. But what if you were infinitely wealthy? You have the option at that point. When we talk about not having to love what you do, we're saying that because you're broke and you don't need to be passionate. You don't need to love what you do. You need to get freaking paid right now. So, but imagine if you were in a situation where you didn't have to think about money, where you didn't have to worry about money. I want to provide that type of opportunity for other people in my family. And so I want you guys to look at your scorecard right now, because remember, we're rating on a scale from 1 to 10 your confidence that you have the right money mindset, that you understand the right things about marketing to be successful, that you're a master of the sales game, that you can execute, and that once you start executing, you know the next steps to take to scale. I know business owners that are making $3, $4, $5 million a year in their business that don't know the scale thing. They're doing $5 million a year in sales in their business, and they have zero clue how to get to $25 million. because the ideas, the thoughts, the mindsets they had that got them to 5 million will not take them to 25 million. This requires different organization, different systems, different people, different strategies. Like, these are two completely different games here. And you have to know the steps to do it. So 1 to 10, money, marketing, sales, execution, scaling. List your confidence level on a scale from 1 to 10 and add them all up. Okay, so hopefully you've done that. Hopefully you've added that up. So there's 50 total points possible here. If you got 10 out of 10 on everything, you got 50. I know where we're at as a business. We're not even in the 50s. I know where I'm at as a person. I'm not even in the 50s, okay? If you are 35 or below, that would be 7s on each of these. If you are 35 or below, 35 out of 50, by the way, is 70%. I think that's, can you pass college? I don't even think you can pass in college. I think you need 75% to pass. Like, it's C minus. You're not passing right there, okay? But most people are going to be under 20. Most people, if they took this honestly, they're going to be under 20% passing. They're going to be an average of 4 on all of these. So when you think about making money and wealth and being successful, and you're looking at a 20% confidence rate, how successful do you think that you're going to be? There's a 20% chance that, right here, this assumes 20% chance that you're going to make it. 80% chance that you don't. Hey, Christian, you want to go skydiving this weekend? There's a 20% chance we're going to survive. What do you think? You want to go? Hell no. I'm not risking my life. Well, dude, you're risking your life every single day that you don't know these things because you have zero confidence in your ability to do them. So how do you get more confidence? Confidence comes from 2 things. Knowing and doing. Knowing and doing are the 2 things that build confidence. And you can go try to do all this stuff on your own. But I know that I tried for a long time to do things on my own, and it didn't work for me. And it wasn't until I got in the right situation with the right people and I had Grant as a mentor that I started doing the right things, and I started learning the right things to do so that I became a lot more confident. So you can go out and try to do this on your own. What I would recommend is that you guys allow us to help you do it with you. And because of that, we've created the 10X Interactive Bootcamp. And this bootcamp is a 3-day event. It's going to be happening for the first time ever virtually. If you can see the background here, this is a simulation of what the room is going to look like. Punch out on me, Francisco. So basically what happened, we're having a multi-million-dollar stage setup, production setup done, and we're going to have thousands of people live behind, in studio with us for these 3 days of this boot camp. Typically, tickets to this boot camp are between $3,000 and $10,000. Okay? And right now, for everybody that's watching this podcast right now, I want to do something stupid for you. If you go to grantcardone.com/97, you can book a seat for our $10,000 10X boot camp for $97. This is the most insane deal that we've ever offered in the history of our boot camp. You're going to get access to our money training, all delivered by Grant. He's going to help you go from a 2 to a 10 in confidence. Okay? You're going to go through our marketing training with Grant. You're going to go from a 2 to a 10 in confidence with your marketing. Sales, Execution. Scaling. Tens. You have no shot at becoming massively successful if you don't learn the right things and you know how to execute them. And for $97, you can get access to one of our most in-depth, comprehensive workshop events that we offer all year. Now, typically, this is an event that we do 3 times a year. People pay between $3,000 and $10,000 to attend. They're smaller groups. It's a higher ticket price because we go so in depth and we cover so many topics in detail. That typically, only folks that can afford the $3,000 or the $4,000 or the $10,000 or the $5,000, whatever ticket level they get, are the ones who can come. And because we're doing virtual, we had to postpone a few events this year because of COVID. And because we're going virtual, we've been able to open this up. And we have been able to offer the opportunity for everybody to become a master in these 5 areas. And look, maybe you can't go from a 2 to a 10 from this one workshop. But remember, you need the knowledge and you need to do if you want to grow confidence and you want to increase your results. And we can help you with the knowledge piece. And the accountability in the group and the network that we'll provide will help you with the doing piece. All you have to do is make the decision that, yes, I want to improve. Yes, I want to do better. And yes, I need to increase my confidence in these areas if I want to have a shot at doing the thing that I know I was meant to do here on this earth for my family. GrantCardone.com/97. The number 9 and the number 7. 3 days, we're going to cover all 5 of these topics, and you're going to leave with a strategy and a plan that you can go back home and you can start implementing so that you can start incrementally increasing your results. Increasing your income, growing your sales, adding more people. This is my favorite event that we do all year because we get to cover in depth so much material. And so we're going to be able to provide you with the networking opportunities at this event. Right? There's going to be thousands of people that are up on these screens. We're going to be pulling people in on video to share their feedback. We're doing exercises so that you're going to be doing workshops in these little breakout Zoom rooms. We're leveraging some of the most advanced technology that I've ever seen in order to pull this off and give you an experience as if you were live in our event in Miami, but from the comfort of your own home. No travel, no hotels, and you get to sleep in your own bed every night. And at the end of 3 days, you're going to have the exact plan that you need to go out and crush it in the marketplace. And start taking those steps that you need to take in order to get where you want to be. I mean, I remember when I was 90 days in working for Grant. I think arguably, we could all look at my situation and go, man, that was an opportunity of a lifetime to get to work for a guy like Grant. There was a point in time, 90 days in, where I almost quit. I spent probably 4 or 5 days going through, how do I back out of this? How do I go back down to San Diego? How do I go back? But then I started confronting, I didn't like where I was. I wasn't happy. I was broke. I was smoking weed every day. I literally didn't have anything to go back to, and I was forced with this situation of what do I do? And the truth is, I didn't have any confidence in what I was doing with Grant because I hadn't spent enough time with him yet to understand the money, the marketing, the sales, the execution, and the scale piece. So because I had low confidence in every one of those 5 categories, I almost left the biggest opportunity that I've ever had in my life. So if you're not happy right now, is it because you're in a bad opportunity or in a bad situation or the wrong vehicle? Or is it because you're missing a few pieces of information that could change everything for you? I believe that information is the only thing that's keeping people from where they deserve to be in life. And I believe that information is the only thing that's keeping you from where you want to be in life. Because it was true for me. All the talent and the ability in the world with the wrong information will never go anywhere. But if you have average talent, if you have I'm not the most talented person in the world. If you have average intelligence, dude, I barely broke 1,000 on my SATs. If you have average intelligence, average talent, but you have the right knowledge to execute these things. Dude, I barely passed college. I barely passed high school. But now I know how to make money because I have the right information. So I would encourage you guys, take advantage of this offer. It's ridiculous. It's insane. GrantCardone.com/97. GrantCardone.com/97. This ticket price will go away. The event is less than a week away. It's October 23rd, 24th, and 25th. So it's next week on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's going to be a 3-day event. Treat this event as if it's a live event. I just had one of our best customers. His name's Russ Yeager. And what he did to make sure that he was locked in for this event is he went down the road from his house and got a hotel room at a hotel so that he could be fully locked in for all 3 days to what we're going to do. This event can change your life if you just look at it as an opportunity. If you think it can, then it will. If you think it can't, then it won't. Just like with money. You think money's abundant? It will be. You think money's scarce? It will be. So join us for this. I promise you. For $97, it's the most non-decision you'll ever have to make with us. And I promise you that this won't be the last $97 you spend with us either, because once you go through all this, you're going to start seeing magic happen. You're going to start seeing all these missing links, like all these unanswered questions that you've had for years in your business, or trying to create more income or money, or figuring out like why you're not happy in the job that you're in, or you've been struggling to get your business past 200 grand a year. Like all these unanswered questions that you've had through that entire process are all going to be answered in our interactive boot camp. So I implore you, take advantage of this. The deal will never be this good, and we likely will never do a virtual boot camp ever again, because this is a live event, right? And once we can pull off a live event, we're going to be doing live events. So this might be your only opportunity that you have to take advantage of the content, the information that we're going to be covering in this boot camp for just $97. You're saving thousands. Take advantage of this right now. GrantCardone.com/97. GrantCardone.com/97. Look, knowing the right information is the one thing that will take the blinders off from you. If you just know what to do. Like imagine buying IKEA furniture and having no instructions. That's how most of you go through life. I know, because that's how I did it. And then once you get the instructions, and then once you go through and you put it together wrong a few times, you put the thing together wrong, you put it together, you got leftover screws and all that stuff. You got to take it apart and put it back together. But then once you do that a few times, you start going, oh wait, hey, here's the instructions. Here's how it goes together. Here's all the tools and the equipment that is required. The hardware is required to put it all together. And the next thing you know, you start doing a little cycle and a process over and over and over again. You're like, oh wow. Money, marketing, sales, execution, scaling. This is the plan. This is the plan that you need to follow. And we're going to cover all of it in 3 days. GrantCardone.com/97. Our 10X Bootcamp Interactive right here. 10X Bootcamp Interactive. Don't go to that link right there. Go to the link I'm telling you, because you'll get a better deal there. GrantCardone.com/97 to get it for just $97. I wish I could convey with words how important it is for you guys to stop having to struggle. I did it for so long because I thought that there wasn't a way out, and I just had taken on the assumption that this is just how it's going to be, and I got to get comfortable with it, and I got to rationalize it, and I got to make sense of it. But once I got in a situation where I got the right information, I was forced to execute over and over and over again. Next thing I know, I turn around, I'm like, dude, I'm making money. I'm a multimillionaire. I've got investments. I'm looking at how to create multiple flows of income. And I'm like, how do I make 100 grand a month in passive income? Passive income without working. All changes for you once you start getting the right pieces put in place. And the same thing will happen for you at our boot camp, GrantCardone.com/97. Take advantage of this thing right now. Don't wait. Go to the site right now, plug in your credit card information, and secure your spot. I can't wait to see you there. I'm going to be emceeing the whole deal. I'll be pulling you guys out, looking at your faces on these big, massive screens, 45 feet of screens in the back, 65 feet of screens in the front, 22 feet tall. It's going to be freaking insane, and you can be a part of the biggest, baddest business event that's ever taken place online. I hope to see you there. Take advantage of your ticket, grantcardone.com/97. And remember, the only people who condemn the hustle are the ones who've already given up on the hustle themselves. We'll see you next week.